Well, they would have had to resist it. Yeah. How would they resist it? These are questions that it's very difficult to answer, because when you have people who are committing brutal violence against you, it's something that is actually beyond my capacity to imagine. But now we have a different, establishment. We've got the Indian government who have made these movies tax-free. So they've given their sort of approval, in a sense, for people to understand these stories. We've got the Indian Armed Forces who are up there that are supposed to be obviously defending and protecting the region. So they've been up there. How do we stop the terrorists? I think that's a decision that has to happen from among the Kashmir Muslim community themselves. I mean, how did white people stop lynching? How did they stop slavery? How did they stop the lynchings that were happening to African Americans? How did we stop the violence that, not saying it stopped, but how did we stop the lynchings and the massacres of Indigenous Australians? I mean, that took some change. They had to make a decision that we are no longer going to kill these people with impunity, and we are no longer going to banish them from our society. We're not going to have apartheid anymore, and so forth. I mean, these things haven't been resolved. This is apartheid. I mean, this is the worst kind of apartheid, when a peoples can't even return to their homes without risk of being shot. And I mean, there's less Kashmiri Pandits on the face of the planet than there are Indigenous Australians. So they are on the brink. If they go, I've seen figures, if they go there and they're killed at the same rate that they were being killed prior to this recent ethnic cleansing in 1990, there would be, they don't have the numbers to sustain themselves. They need to be protected. Who's going to protect them? The neighbours have to protect them. The police have to protect them. The society has to protect them, but that's not going to happen overnight. So the movie is one thing, but we've had movies here of Australian Indigenous abhorrent violence and the story of what happened, and it's educated. I mean, we have the rabbit-proof fence is being taught at school so that children know this is what happened in history. When is that going to start happening? Why are we being told that just simply telling this story is something about Muslims? It's about terrorists. It's like saying that, the people who committed the genocides here are just ordinary white Australians. They're not. I mean, we weren't even alive when it happened, but that doesn't mean that we don't have some responsibility to deal with what our ancestors did. So even if they're not responsible, they're still responsible for fixing the situation that's here right now. And that takes a lot of humility. I don't think the humility's there. And I don't think that courageous ability to step up and say, hey, we did wrong. We're sorry. We will do everything within our power to make sure this doesn't happen again. But for some reason, there's still terrorists being sheltered.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.